get going.
And
Gotcha.
you may want to go ahead and mute to your right. Like if you've got it on unmute right now, go ahead and mute.
No.
Okay, and I want to make sure everybody raises your hand or something so I know that you're voting, okay?
Well, I'm gonna go over that part of it in just a minute.
Okay,
We'll go
Hey,
ahead and
Mayor.
get started. Yes, sir.
Mayor, we're live on YouTube and we're recording, so we're good to go.
Sounds good. It is January 26, 2021. This is a Bryant City Council regular meeting. It is shortly after 6:31. It's actually 6:31 and 13 seconds, according to my clock. Rob Rodell, Councilmember Rob Rodell will be leading us in the invocation and pledge, so if you'll join us.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for letting us come together this evening, Lord, to conduct the business for the city of Bryant. Lord, we welcome 2 members this evening. We hope that you will bless them throughout their years of service over this term. And Lord, I pray that you be with all of us as we deal with the current pandemic. Help us to see this as a time to become closer to you and draw you nearer into our lives. Guide us this evening and give us wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I guess we're going to do the flag behind your back.
Yes, sir. That's why I put it there.
All right, let's put our hands up. I pledge allegiance to
Allegiance
the
to
flag
the flag
of the United States of
of the States of
America
America,
and to the republic
to the republic
which it stands, one nation under God,
Under God.
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Wasn't too bad. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Sue, can I get a roll call vote, please?
yes. Okay,
Not roll call vote, but roll call. I'm sorry.
I got you. Permenter? Permenter?
Gonna have to unmute.
Here.
Okay. Sanders?
here,
Hawk?
Here.
Rodell? Rodell?
Bueller, here.
Higginbotham?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Miller?
here,
Henson?
Here.
Mayor Scott, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Sue. I'm thinking the best way to do our voting and stuff tonight, since we're on here and trying to keep everybody from talking over each other, we'll probably just poll each vote, even on the resolutions and approvals, if that's okay with council. I think that'll make for a clearer meeting for everybody. Any council member have issues with that?
When you say poll, are you just talking about putting it in the chat over here?
Well, no, I'm talking about, I'm gonna call your name, like for a resolution, I'm gonna call your name and you'll vote yay or nay on that.
Sounds
As
good.
opposed to me, like I normally do, saying everybody in favor vote yay, everybody opposed say nay. Because I'm afraid if I do it the yays and nay way, like we normally do it, it might cause some issues with
Makes sense.
everybody being heard, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
I'd prefer to do it the other way. Of course, on ordinances, we always do roll call, so it'll be as normal, So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the December 15th, 2020 council meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 council meeting.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
second,
Have a motion and a second. I believe that was Star, correct? Or was that
That was Brenda.
Brenda? Might be a good way to do that since we can't tell sometimes, to go ahead and say your name on those motions and seconds, if you don't mind,
okay,
just to help city clerk. So we have a motion and second. I'll go ahead and do a quick poll. Rodell,
Rob Rodell, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes,
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes,
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Meyer.
Meyer, yes.
Motion passes. There were no nays. Next item is some presentations and announcements. I believe we have Keep Bryant Beautiful is going to be coming on in just a second if I am correct. Is that right, Dana? But before that, as they're trying to get that going, I want to remind everybody that today is Dana's birthday. So don't forget to wish her happy birthday sometime.
Can we sing, sir?
Oh, we can at the end. Yes, we can at the end. Looks like we do have Keep Bryant Beautiful on now.
Hi, thank you guys so much for letting me have a minute of your time. My name is Jennifer West, and I am with Keep Bryant Beautiful. And really, I just wanted to ask for you guys' support for us. We're trying to really revamp our program and really start getting things going. If you don't know, our mission at Keep Bryant Beautiful is to help prevent litter, encourage recycling, and promote just overall community improvement and beautification here in Bryant. And so we do have our first event scheduled for 2021. It's going to be a paper shredding and electronics recycling. It's going to be held April 10th at the First Southern Baptist Church, excuse me. So if you guys have anything that you need shredded, anything that you want recycled electronics wise, feel free to bring it out to us. If you can't make it April 10th, we will actually come to you guys and do porch pickup for you for a minimum $25 donation. And feel free to visit our Facebook page at Keep Bryant Beautiful to find the events the details for our event and just kind of keep up with things that are going there. The other thing, just to remind you guys, we do have the Adopt a Street program, which is a great way to get your family, get your church members, get your businesses involved with helping keep our city beautiful. And we have information, more details about that on our website. But I won't keep you very long. I just wanted to say thank you guys for your past support, and we look forward to having your future support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Truett, is there anybody else on that?
I don't believe
Okay.
so, Mayor. I
Okay.
think that was it for those reports.
Okay. I've got Dana's happy birthday taken care of. So we're good with that. No committee and commission reports. There is one little department, kind of an update. On Monday of this week, we were given an update for the intersection for Highway 5 and Bryant Parkway. So I thought I would read that summary from our engineer, Ted Taylor. As of January 25th, 2021, information from RDOT indicates that the design of the signalization of the intersection of Highway 5 and Bryant Parkway, along with the widening of Highway 5 to County Line, is approaching the 30% design status and should be ready for public review this spring 2021, somewhere around March or April. The 30% design will identify the right-of-way needed and any immediate utility conflicts at the intersection of Highway 5 and Bryant Parkway. Tentatively, this spring, RDOT will schedule a public involvement meeting for review of the entire Highway 5 widening, which will also include the Highway 5 and Bryant Parkway intersection. RDOT will notify the stakeholders, city, county, and surrounding public approximately 1 month before the meeting. At this time, it is expected to be a virtual meeting where people can submit questions and comments. The Highway 5 widening to Saline County Line is scheduled as a 2024 construction project. So just so y'all have that update.
Mayor?
Sir.
When we had the special meeting, we asked if we could get RDOT to put signage on Highway 5. And I know that we've done our part as far as on the Parkway.
Right.
You know when they're going to do their part?
Well, actually, yeah, I think they do have signage at least going towards the east.
Well, I was on it
there's
yesterday and
one
I didn't
sign.
see anything.
I think they only have one sign and may not be very big.
Okay,
We can check into that though, again, just to make sure.
cool. Thank you.
Sure. Let me write a quick note. Any other questions or comments relating to that? Hearing none, I'll move on. Truett, is there anybody out there for public comments?
We do have some attendees that have joined us tonight. I think at this time, if anybody is here for public comment, if you could please raise your hand or identify yourself in the chat that is what you're here to do. That'd be very helpful. So I think we've got one. It's a Mr. Robert Parker. So Mayor, I'm going to add him in as a panelist.
Okay. Mr. Parker, are you on?
I think we're still getting him, Mayor.
Okay. I believe I see him now. Mr. Parker, can you hear me? This is Mayor Scott.
He needs to unmute.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No problem.
I can make this very brief if you can
Well,
move through
sure,
my
absolutely.
inquiry. if you
Basically,
don't
you
mind.
have 3
Or,
minutes.
shall I proceed?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, very good. I attended the Bryant Water Commission meeting tonight asking for consideration over a bill I received in November. It was for about 100,000 gallons of water. Normally I use about 10,000 gallons a month. There was a flash flood in November, deposited a huge amount of debris into my swimming pool. I did turn the meter on. It was off at that time, turned it on, drained water down I thought approximately 10 inches, which is around 4,000 gallons. Apparently I forgot to turn the meter back off, and it ran for about 9 or 10 days. They say it ran. The meter indicates it run, and I'm not disputing that. It was a water bill of $600 essentially, and wanted to know if I could receive some consideration. Let me pay what your municipal rate is to the city of Little Rock, thereby not impacting your net balance sheet. Essentially, you don't make any profit off of it. I realized the mistake was mine and an error, but again, the council told me, the water council told me they had no authority to make any adjustments and suggested that I review that with you guys. Having said that, I know I've got some inquiries at my end mechanically, perhaps engineering wise, to figure out what happened. But again, there's a big difference between a water bill that's normally $60 a month and it's $600 for 10 days. So I think I'm probably out of time.
Thank you, sir. I believe
Is
you're
there
on.
a way?
Can I ask a couple
Go
of
ahead.
questions, please?
Yes.
Parker, what's your address, sir?
It is 602 Colonial Drive in Bryant. I've got the account number if you need it.
No, you don't need to tell me that. That's private information.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Did the Water Commission offer to, you said it was a $600 bill, I believe is what you
Yes.
said, sir? Did they
Correct.
offer to dismiss the sewer charges on that?
There are no sewer charges. It was a 1-inch meter for the sprinkler system, no sewer charges. And therefore they told me they had no authority to make any adjustment. And I understand that. And they suggested I take it up with you guys. Basically, like I said, I'm not doubting that the water was used. I don't know how 100,000 gallons could have gone on my property without me noticing it. I did not receive a memo from you guys. I would have thought the rate of 10,000 gallons a day that someone would have said, hey, the guy only uses 10,000 a month. Something's wrong here. But I did not receive a memo. But I understand water is water and it costs money, and you guys have to pay Little Rock to get it. So I'd like to know if I could get some adjustment on that bill. If none, then I understand that's the way it is.
We can definitely take it under consideration of council.
Well, like I say, it's outstanding at this point, and they did say that they would put a pause on it or a hold so I don't incur, monthly overdue amounts, because that's about $60 a month if you don't pay it on time. So I want to rectify the problem and move on with life. That's why I'm coming to you. if you can help, great. If you can't, you say, we can't do anything about it, then, I understand that too. I'm a reasonable person.
Sure, I appreciate that. I don't know that if we can do anything tonight or not. If we did, we'll have to make a motion to put it on the agenda as another.
No, it's not necessary to do tonight. Obviously, I owe you the money, and if you can come back to me and say, hey, we can do this, and I'll pay you right then. Just let me know what, if anything, you can do.
Okay. Council, would you like me to put this on the agenda for discussion next month? Wait a month, or what would y'all like to do?
Mayor, could we add it to new business for tonight and just discuss it while we're here, since it's fresh on everybody's minds for tonight?
We certainly can if there's a motion and a second. And a vote.
I make a motion that we discuss the residents' water bill and new business tonight and add it to the agenda.
Okay.
I can come down, pay you guys tomorrow. I mean, it's not an issue. I mean, I'd like to get some adjustment on it if it's possible.
1 second, Mr. Palmer, if you don't mind muting, give a couple of seconds. I believe Rob was wanting to say something else.
Yes, sir. Alderman Hawk, I might suggest that since we don't have all the information data in front of us with regards to what's going on.
Just let me know.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead, Rob.
With Mr. Parker's bill, it might be a good idea if we could see all the facts. I know that we don't want to see your account number or anything like that, but it'd be good to see all that data and give us some time to look at it. If you said the water department agreed to hold off on the billing and everything, uh-oh, he went away. Did we lose him?
I don't know if we.
I believe he's still maybe out there as an attendee, so I think he maybe can still hear you.
Okay.
Mr. Parker?
If not, I'll reach out to him. I have his phone number. I'll reach out to him if I need
Rob,
to.
I get what you're saying. I'll withdraw my motion for the new business tonight. And Mayor, if we could have it added to the agenda for next month, that would be fabulous.
We can certainly do that. In addition, what I will do is I'll gather that information about his account and stuff and get that to y'all before the council meeting. And I'll make sure that they don't, that the bill is not put in arrears or anything. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
Did you say
We
something?
also have one more resident who's not on Zoom right now that has a similar issue. So
Okay.
we'll gather that information and send it out as well.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Dana. Anybody else for public comment out there? Thank you, Mr. Parker. I'll be
If
reaching out.
you guys are done with me, I'll let you get on with business, and I'll just wait to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a good evening. Thanks.
You too.
Bye-bye.
We do have a couple of people that are attendees, so just checking to make sure anybody that is an attendee that would like to participate, please either raise your hand or let us know in the chat that you'd like to do so, and we can get you added in. Well, Mayor, I'm not seeing any sign of that, so I think we're good to go.
Okay, since this is a new year, honestly, and believe it or not, we don't have any old business, so we will move on to new business. And with that, hopefully we will have Joy Black joining us for the finance related stuff. You out there, Joy? There she is. Joy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you see me?
No, ma'am.
Do you? So you don't need to see me, right?
It's okay. We can, I mean, it's always nice to see you, but
Okay. All right. Well, first item on my area. Oh, I have a little helper, by the way, who's in my lap. So if I have some strange add-ins, you'll know that's Kimber. She can see you guys. Presentation and approval of the 2020 December year-to-date city financial report. And I just have a few comments on that report. Page 2, general and street funds ended the year with revenues up compared to the budget. Although this was due to the CARES Act money, which is going to be on the adjustment sheet that's later tonight. And when we put that into account, you'll see that it actually puts us back below budget, which was what we expected. And we'll have this and other changes in a more clear format when I bring it back to you guys at the end of March, beginning of April for publication in the newspaper. And let's see, page 3, we had increased the transfers again for the water department. We talked about that at the last meeting. And this is supposed to be, should be taken care of whenever we start going back to normal fee charges in February. Page 4, sales tax continues to be strong, including through today for January. We just got the good news yesterday, so that's very good. And we're over budgeted amounts. And on page 4, I'd just like to point out to you that if we do adopt my suggestion for the overages and underages under for our sales tax, that would have been $16K to the impact fee consulting project and to the certification pay, and $291K to the maintenance or capital fund had we selected those items, but we have not done that yet. It's just proposed. And then page 7, 8, and 9, some items are still pending for the end of the year adjustment, especially in Fund 10 and Fund 30, but they're small amounts. And like I said, those will be corrected when I bring it back to you later in the year for publication in the newspaper. So I believe that's all I had for the first item. Did anybody have any clarification questions on that first item?
Joy,
Yes?
on the sales tax, February was not able to be clarified on why it was negative. And I have heard some chat on that. Have we got any clarification on that particular problem, or do you think it'll happen again?
No, we have not. And I don't know if what you heard was the same thing that I heard on the Arkansas Municipal League conference, but I have hopes that they're going to make some headway on that. However, I know that we've had that same discussion in the past. It's been quite a few years ago, and we didn't make any headway then, but maybe, you know, some time has gone by and maybe we'll get somewhere now. So if I get a chance to put that forth as an example or to help in any way with that, I definitely will be doing that, because no, we've not received any more information, and that would be a perfect example of a situation where I feel like we should have.
Especially when you've got the whole year now to be able to use for your example.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding the December year-to-date city financial for 2020? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Higginbotham.
Is there a second?
Second, Parmenter.
By Permenter. Thank you, Wade. Quick little poll. Let me find my list. Meyer,
Yes, Meyer.
Hawk,
Yes, Hawk.
Sanders,
Yes, Sanders.
Henson,
Yes, Henson.
Higginbotham,
Yes, Higginbotham.
Miller,
Yes, Miller.
Permenter,
Yes, again, Parmenter.
Rodell.
Yes, Rodell.
Thank you. And the second item on the agenda is a resolution providing for the adoption of an amended budget for the city of Bryant for the 12-month period beginning January 1, 2020 and ending December 31, January 2020.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I did talk about one of the largest items on this is, of course, putting our CARES Act money into the budget so that it didn't throw our budget off. But did anybody have any questions on any of the other items?
Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Miller, approval.
Hawk, second.
Okay. Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Rodell,
Rodell, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Henson.
Henson, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you all. This is Resolution 2021-1. Now we will move on to item number 3, which is a resolution providing for the adoption of an amended budget for the city of Bryant for the 12-month period beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2021. Reappropriations, encumbrances rolled.
Rodell, motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt by Rodell. Is there a second?
Miller, second.
Motion is second to adopt. Any discussion?
I have one comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just ask, Joy and I had a conversation over email, and just that when she puts those credit cards out again for bid, that we look to bid to get cash back on our credit cards.
Okay. It's a good idea. Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Now we'll poll for yays and nays. We shall start with Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Rodell,
Rodell, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Sanders.
Sanders, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next item on the, oh, by the way, that is Resolution 2021-2. Make sure I get my piles straight here. Next item is presentation and approval of the 2020 City Purchasing Policy Manual. As I believe I discussed in, I believe it's December when we first brought this to you to look at, and y'all have had a chance to look at it. The city really has not had a formal policy like this. We had parts of it in place, but we're to a point now where we're big enough and enough things are happening that we really need something like this in place. So that's why it's on here for your approval. Is there any questions about it?
Miller, motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Miller.
Henson, second.
Henson, second. Any discussion?
Are we
Hearing
gonna-
none?
Oh,
Go ahead, Brenda.
it says 2020. Are we going to make this a 2021 policy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we will change that to 2021.
okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Sir,
I think Rhonda's before me. Never mind. I'll,
Yes.
I'll wait for
That's
Rhonda.
okay. I had one quick question. I wasn't exactly sure what all I was supposed to read on this, so I just read the whole thing. I had one question under the credit cards. It made a reference of things to do and not to do. And one of them was you're not to spend prior to, let me see what it is, purchases which were incurred before receiving required approval. I had a question on it because the way it's written under the credit cards, they don't follow the same PO structure or approval structure that normal purchases do. So I was just wondering for verification on exactly what that process is for getting credit card purchases approved prior to spending it.
Joy, you want to answer that?
Yes, if I could, it's actually on a department by department case, but in most departments, it's usually in the form of, if they have a regular reoccurring expense that's on the credit card, then they already have given approval for that. If it's a new charge, typically they get approval from their department head before they do it. And that's not always written. Sometimes it's just verbal approval. But before it goes into the system, the department head approves those charges. So they have actually hit the credit card, but the department head does get a chance to review all of those before they go into the general ledger. So if there was an instance where, say, an employee did something on a card, I mean, it wouldn't be more than 30 days before the department head knew about it, had a chance to review that, and could pull that person's card.
So Joy, is the check and balance that the supervisor has to approve their expenses after they're done?
It is, but it's also that each individual that has a card or has access to the card signs that policy and knows that if they do something that violates that policy, it could result in termination or paying back what they did if they did it in an error. And then also there are several limits on most of the cards, a $2,500 cap on a per purchase, per day, and then per month. Most of them are all set, at or below $2,500. And so there's several different kind of checks and balances in there, but we don't have all of them spelled out in the policy. So, but as far as department heads go, and having it in the general ledger software, it does happen after the fact. Does that help to clarify?
Yeah, it helps to clarify. I just know that it's kind of backwards in what's written in the policy than what actually happens. And just kind of wanted to know if there was a better way to handle that, or if everybody's fine with it. I just wanted to raise that question. And I noticed that probably because I have to track a lot of credit cards and things like that where I'm at. And I know that's a real potential for expenditures that surprise you.
Yes, definitely. And we're open to suggestion if you have a better way to do it, because, we've changed it over the years. So this is just where it's wound up today. So if you've got other things that you would like for us to add, or we're certainly open to that.
Joy.
We can always amend this policy.
Okay, Joy. So did department heads go in and there's like a system, they go in and approve the purchases or allocate it to a certain?
Yes, but it is after the fact. What it is at the end of the month, they have 3 days to turn all their information over to finance. And at that time, somebody in their department is putting in they're supposed to do it within a week of getting the stuff. But they don't have to do it to within 3 days of closing the month, because we close out the bill and pay regions. So at the end of the month, everything actually has a purchase order associated with it. And that through that purchase order has been given approval by the department head, but it was after the money was spent on the credit card. So, in each department, the department head has control over who they issue cards to. They've approved those people that get cards. They've approved the amounts that they're allowed to spend. And, to some extent, however, each different department does it, some departments, have them fill out a form. Other departments, it's just verbal. It's kind of on a department by department case. But
at the end of the month, you could code the expenses based on what department. So then you'd have an allocation by percentage of, like, for instance, when your cash comes back, you'd allocate it by department easily. The math function on a spreadsheet, wouldn't it?
Well, it would, except for the fact that since we do POs for all the individual vendors instead of a PO to regions, it doesn't group them by, like, the regions is not, like, we can't I can't sort out all of the credit card purchases easily by regions being the vendor. Does that make sense? But I mean, I feel like there's got to be a way to do it. So, and I think too, there's improvement when we change general ledger software and possibly at the same time redo some of our banking functions. That at that point, because a lot of the credit card companies now have reports you can download and upload those reports, so that we wouldn't have to do as much manual entering as we do right now with what we have. But we can't do that in our system on our side. So that's kind of our limitation right now. But I mean, I think there's definitely ways to improve it. So
Joy, this is Rob Rodell.
mhm.
Currently, we have no purchasing policy whatsoever.
No, formally, we have an administrative policy that's been in place. There was some form of it there when I came to the city in 2014, and then we've worked on it ever since then. But no, as far as I know, there's never been a purchasing policy that's been adopted by council.
Right. So if we don't adopt this evening, we're still dealing with a piecemeal patchwork policy.
Correct.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So that it might be, I might suggest if we could agree to adopt this and then tone it up and amend it as we go, because updated policy is better than what we're dealing with now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this, I consider this a living, breathing document. Once it's approved, when we need to make changes to it, we'll make changes to it without any problem.
Yes, I agree. I mean, we both have talked about it. We kind of view this as baby steps to where we need to be. So this is just the first step.
Hey, Joy, it's RJ. Quick question. So anything over 20,000 needs council approval, correct?
Yes, one second. Anything over 20,000 does need council approval, but if you guys have adopted it in the budget, then it does not typically come back to you guys.
So let me ask you this: if there is a vendor that, say, you have reoccurring payments that you know based on year previous that we've used this vendor over and over, that we spend over $20,000, does that need council approval, or is that a department approval per purchase? Because if we know there's a vendor that we have spent over $20,000 with year after year, shouldn't that be a council approval thing, since we know we're going to be spending over 20,000 with them?
Yes, but most of those are listed in the budget book that you adopt each year. There's an appendix to the budget book that says major vendors in the back. And if I know ahead of time, I've tried to put all of those on the list, and I ask department heads each year for their input as well, if there are ones that I've missed. So we've tried to find all those and put them. And then we also tried to add further detail, like if they were on state contract or the TIPS contract, or a sole source provider. So most of that's in that appendix to the budget book. And that's just, kind of the way we've been doing it. But I mean, we're open to improving that process as well if anybody's got any suggestions on ways to do that. Because it does get kind of tricky. Like we were talking the other day, I mean, if you're doing, oil changes at however much a pop, and I mean, you haven't gone to 20,000 in years past, but you go over 20,000 during the year, but you may or may not have even noticed that as a department head because, you're not tracking things that way. So it's a little bit difficult, and it's difficult on the department heads because they may use a vendor that another department head uses, and they may not even be aware that the other department head is using that vendor. So it's not really until the end of the year when I run some checks, or if I run checks on how much we've paid per year, at different points, that we find out a lot of that. So, that's just some food for thought, because that was kind of things we thought about too when we were putting this together.
Joy, RJ, are you done, buddy?
Yeah.
I've got I think another way to ask RJ's question, I think, RJ, is, Council Member Hawk, is, your threshold is X amount of dollars, let's say. So then a department head keeps it below that threshold, but does a recurring purchase every month. So it falls under the crack, although it adheres to the letter of the law. It certainly just steps all over the spirit of the law or the ordinance, whatever it is. So what are your thoughts about that? And I've experienced that in past employment places, by the way.
Yes, and I mean, we've talked about that too. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some things that were drafted to say, put in here, and I guess that's kind of what we're getting to later on the ethics stuff. That kind of goes along with the spirit of it. And I think at that point, if it became where everybody felt like it, rose to that sort of level, then it would have to be a decision on y'all's part based on that code of ethics, not necessarily the policy. Because I think it would be.
It'd actually be the mayor and the ethics officer's decision, I believe.
Because I think it would be hard to draft a policy that would close all loopholes,
Well, like Rob, Councilmember Rodell said, we can always amend this as we go, and at least, like the mayor said, this is a document that we have, and if something comes up, we can always amend it in future meetings.
Yes.
and go as we see fit. But at least we'll have a Bible essentially for how to purchase.
Yes, exactly. At least we'll have a document to amend. We have a starting place. So I totally agree.
And Robin, RJ, this is Rhonda. I hate just speaking up, but anyway, you kind of started addressing that issue under the section on annual contracts, where it's talking about those annual type of purchases that reoccur, and it's just impractical, as you said. And another option just to consider, I think we passed this the way it is. Tonight it's good, it's a great start, but you can also do what we refer to as a blanket PO type system, where it's, I know I'm going to use this vendor for this much on a recurring basis, and you write that on the front end, and then you've got your documentation on it. But I think you've kind of started that concept in this policy there under that annual contracts of what you're talking about.
Yes. And we do actually do that in some instances. At the beginning of the year, any vendor that we know that we're going to be spending a certain amount with on during the year, we try to actually get the PO completed at the beginning of the year. So
I'll make a motion we adopt so Joy could get back to her child.
We already have a motion and a second for this. It'll just be a poll now if everybody's through discussing. And we'll start with Rob.
Yes. I don't think he got a second on my motion, but yes.
Well, there was already a motion and a second previous to that.
Well, there you go. Yes.
Okay. Permenter,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Meyer,
yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Sanders.
Sanders, yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The purchasing policy is now approved.
Mayor, does that go in effect immediately?
Basically, yeah. I mean, probably 30 days actually, but we're going to act like it's immediate for our purposes. So yeah, all the department heads are aware of the policy. So, and once we get that date change, we'll change the date to January 2021. On that, we'll push it back out tomorrow. So make sure they're all there, and we'll start that process. There may be a hiccup here or there because, it can be a learning curve at times. The last item the next two items, we got two more items for finance. And then we'll be through with finance. So the next item is the presentation and approval of the 2020 Tri-Stem City Utilities Audit Report. As you know, in the past, we've talked about this a little bit, and you had the report, the audit for the utilities in your packet. This is just a presentation of the findings. Don't believe it is asking you to make any action on those findings at this time. Is the way I understand this.
Well, just for clarification, is after they they present, after they approve it tonight, am I clear to go ahead and tell TriStem to make their recommendation changes to Entergy? On the list of, there's some of them that they're using old lights and all that list that I included, they're waiting on us to give approval for them to move forward on that.
Okay, probably honestly, the only item that's probably would not be part of that approval tonight is my guess. And council, correct me if I'm wrong, that would be item 4. We've had some previous discussion on this and we probably need some additional discussion. And that is the lights with Prospect Park. So we probably need to get a little bit more information about if there's some other areas that are in a similar situation that we're not covering, and get that back to you, that part of it back to you at council meeting next month if you want. The rest of it, I'm fine with doing whatever council determines.
Mayor, I would make a motion that we approve all section except section 4. That be, we have further discussion on that issue, on that matter. And
Okay.
Hawk second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the report with the exception of section 4 and have additional discussion of that matter at the next council meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Rodell?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Got it written down now. It's actually give me a chance to write it down. So we'll take a little poll. Henson,
Yes, Henson.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Rodell,
Rodell, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk.
Hawk, yes.
Believe that's everybody. Motion passes. And we will bring information relating to section 4 back to you next month. Next up is one last resolution from the Finance Department. It is a resolution amending Resolution 2002-9, which is defining capital asset and setting guidelines for items to be charged to a capital account in the city of Bryan, Arkansas. Joy, you have anything you need to say on this?
No, if nobody has any questions, I mean, basically, we're just moving forward with the times. We used to capitalize things at that lower amount, and I just felt like since we were doing the purchasing policy and we bumped that up to that $5,000 amount, now would be a good time to go ahead and raise our capital threshold.
Okay. Do I hear a
Motion to
motion?
approve, Miller.
Okay, I have a motion to approve.
Second, Sanders.
Second for Sanders. Any further discussion? While I fix my sleeve. Hearing none, I will ask yeas and nays. Henson,
Henson, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Rodell.
Rodell, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you all for that. That is Resolution 2021-3.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joy. Tell Canberra I said hi. Next item up is the purchase and approval of a prefab storage building for the animal shelter. Trish got with me last week about this and I said, yeah, we can get this on the agenda. So we put it on there. Basically, they're needing a storage building to store food and things like that because where they're currently storing it, vermin, I shall say, have been getting into it and destroying the food. And it's such a waste. The purchase that she's looking for is in the amount of $10,000 for approval to purchase a storage building. It's less than the threshold to bring to the council, but we thought we'd bring it anyway.
Motion to approve, Miller.
Have a motion by Miller to approve.
Higginbotham, second.
Higginbotham second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to know, what kind of building is it,
Uh,
Trish?
Trish?
So we have 2 bids that we've received. We're waiting on a third from a company that's located here in Bryant. And the 2 that we've received, one is a Dirksen building and the other is Tough Shed. And I can't remember the name of the third company that we're still waiting on. He just couldn't get back to us today. But our plan is to stay well under that $10,000 threshold in order to get the most bang for the buck. I'm pretty frugal, so I try to save money where I can, but we definitely want to get something that's going to keep the animals out. We've done some relocating of the animals. It's mainly raccoons that we're having the most problem with for some of these items that are being stored outside. Unfortunately, animals just attract other animals, and that's what's going on. And so we've relocated as many as we can, but that really isn't a long-term solution. We've got to have some secure outdoor storage. And so that's why we've brought this to council.
Did you consider like a Connex type storage trailer?
We did talk about that. And I don't know that we have the space for one that's large enough for what we need. The other thing is we also, of course, want something to look nice. Not that a Connex trailer would not be nice if we spent the money and had it painted and that type of thing. We considered all of our options. And we just felt that using one of these prefabricated buildings was probably the best option for what we're trying to do.
My consideration was that a raccoon can chew through just about anything given time. And the Connex trailer would be pretty much impenetrable. So I don't know.
Yes, sir. I'm quite aware of what raccoons can or cannot do. I haven't seen a raccoon actually do that ever, or otherwise they would be pretty much constantly chewing into our homes. However, there's always that possibility that I could be surprised by the wildlife. But like I said, we considered pretty much all of our options. This is something that we had talked about for quite a while. And this year I had tried to put it off for another year just because with COVID, we never know what's going to happen as far as the tax revenue. But it's just gotten to a point now where we definitely need to do something.
Hey, Trish.
Yes.
This is RJ, by the way. As somebody that just purchased a building of this size, I would recommend the Tough Shed just because it's got the steel reinforced floor in it. And being that you are with food and things like that, the floor is not, it's not going to rot out as quickly as just having a wooden floor in those sheds. The Tough Shed quote that you provided to us, I actually just bought that same exact shed. And so I can tell you with that steel reinforced floor, I think for what you guys will be doing, it will hold up longer, but that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, just for clarification, we don't actually intend to store food in this particular building. It's going to be just some other items that we don't have space to store inside of the shelter building. But it's things that, that the animals are getting into and just causing some damage. So that's why. But yes, I'll definitely take that into consideration because I didn't realize that there was a difference in the floor.
Chris, we have budgeted for this, correct?
So this was not put into the 2021 budget. Like I said, I had tried to hold off for another year, but it's just, it's getting overwhelming. So we've got to do something. However, I've checked with Joy and we do have the funds to cover this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We actually have motions and seconds already to approve. We're just in a discussion, but thank you. Rodell will be a yes, I guess.
Rodell, yes, again.
Or say a thumbs up. Permenter,
Permanent, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
and Miller.
Miller, yes.
Or did I already say you?
I thought so, but that's okay. I can still
He's still
Miss
for it.
anybody? It seemed like I missed somebody.
didn't change my mind.
I didn't miss
Vote.
anybody, did I?
Vote early, vote often.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. On that note,
Council.
that
Thank you so much,
passes.
council. I also want to just quickly just give a shout out to both our IT department who loaned me a vehicle for, I think I've been driving their vehicle for about a month now. And now a shout out and thanks to the police department who is now loaning me a vehicle. I've got one of their Tahoes that I'm going to be driving until I can get a vehicle replaced later this year. So I just wanted to publicly thank them for being so gracious and allowing me to borrow a vehicle. So that way I'm not, thumbing it. So again, thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, her vehicle broke and we're in the process of working through replacement issues, so. Wish my phone would quit making noise. I'm trying to make it quit, but. All right, there we go. All right, moving on. Thank you, Trish. With that, we'll move on to legal, I believe is the next on the agenda, which was put on at the request of Councilmember Rob Rodell at the last council meeting, I do believe. It is a resolution to establish a code of ethics for the City of Bryant employees.
That's correct. I drafted the resolution to adopt a code of ethics for all employees to sign yearly.
I make a motion to approve.
Hawk, second.
Motion and a second to approve. Councilmember Meyer and Councilmember Hawk respectively on that. Any discussion?
Ashley, we're gonna increase this to include contractors also in the future, correct?
Yes, we can add to contractors. One discussion that you all might want to think about is the definition of employee. That is not in this. Is employee someone under the mayor's supervision? Is it someone that is paid by the city? Do we include committee members and commissioners? Would we require them to sign this code of ethics also?
That's just for future consideration. I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, absolutely. Same with the employee. Right now, we're running under the guise that the city's employee is somebody who is directly under my influence. Basically, so that would leave out commission members. It would leave out committee members. It would leave out council members, anybody that's getting restitution that way. Of course, council members, we have a code of ethics for city council anyway, which if you haven't gotten it yet, we will get that to you because we've been working on that as well. If we'd been in person, you'd have it already, but you know how that works. So with that, if there's no further discussion, I will be happy to entertain we've got a motion and don't we on that? No, we have not.
Higginbotham motion.
We have Meyer and Hawk that
That's
are.
right, Meyer and Hawk, that's
We
right.
have Miller.
That's it. Meyer and Hawk.
No,
Miller and Hawk.
Meyer and Hawk initially.
Okay,
Yes. My bad. I just didn't get it written down quick enough. I'm sorry.
okay.
Since this is a resolution, we'll poll again. Meyer,
Yes, Meyer.
Hawk,
Yes, Hawk.
Rodell,
Yes, Rodell. Rodell, yes.
Permenter,
Permanent, yes.
Miller,
yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Sanders.
Sanders, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Mayor, this
Yes.
is Charlotte.
1 second. This is resolution 2021-4. Okay, go ahead, Charlotte.
I just wanted to ask a question. As we work through implementing both this purchasing policy and this code of ethics, businesses who have the potential to have a conflict of interest, who are currently doing business with the city, do they need to stop doing business, or do we need to stop signing POs and things like that? Any of our process over the course of the next 30 days while we determine if we are bringing them to council in an ordinance for approval?
I believe that's an administrative question.
Okay. Not a problem. We just wanted to make sure on that.
So we're deciding that in-house?
Yes, we'll decide that in-house.
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. All right, moving on to Public Works, I believe. We have Mark Grimmett coming up, where we'll be starting to talk about a couple of a water and a sewer rate adjustment resolutions. We, as you remember, historically, last year, I guess about the mid-year, we had one water rate study and that had some results, and you asked for another one to be done. So we had that done. I believe that was presented in November. And so we've done that. And now we're just bringing this back to you for a vote for ordinance.
Yeah. Hey, Mayor, this is Mark. Yeah. So, every 3 years, we're required to do a rate analysis. We perform, as the mayor was saying, 2 of those analysis for the current requirement. And the ordinances on the agenda tonight are a reflection of the analysis that was performed by Will Dan Financial Services, and Dan Jackson with Will Dan. I believe he's on the phone here with us. If he could be allowed to share his screen, he's just going to do a quick summary to recap the results of that rate analysis.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Great. If I could share my screen real briefly, I'd like to, before I begin sharing, I'd just like to just give you a little bit of brief background. As Mr. Grimmett indicated, we were engaged by the city last summer to do a comprehensive water and wastewater rate study for the city. In November, we presented the results of our study before the council. Went through a fairly comprehensive presentation where we outlined the alternatives and the reasons for the need for water and wastewater rate increases in the coming years. There's no need to go through that detailed presentation again tonight, but I do want to hit a few of the highlights of it because I think that it is very important as we approach a decision of this magnitude that you are refreshed a little bit as to some of the reasons for why these increases were put into are being requested to be put into place, and why it will be very beneficial for the city. So with that, I'd like to share the screen here, and hopefully I can get this to work. All of you can see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Now I'll presentation down the bottom right there. This one? Yes. Were you present? Presentation. Well, hey, I like it when this thing actually works. Okay. Like I said, I've only got about 5 slides here, but in this first slide here, I'd like to talk just real briefly about why the city needs to consider a long-term water and wastewater rate plan. It is a very common question asked whenever cities review rates. Fundamental question is asked is, why do we need to adjust our rates? Why are water costs any higher today than they were 10 or 20 years ago? Well, I think it is a fair question. The reason is very simple. The city of Bryant's water utility is very much like any other business. Like any business, your costs go up over the years. After all, water is a product like a McDonald's hamburger or a gallon of gasoline or anything else. And like any product and like any business, costs go up for no other reason, just due to inflation. Cost of everything goes up by 3 to 4% a year just due to inflation. And there are many other factors that are increasing the cost of water and sewer service. As those costs go up, you've got no choice but to pass those costs through to your ratepayers. Another important factor that you need to consider is the fact that your water supplier, Central Arkansas Water, is going to continue to increase its cost to you in the coming years. And so you have to pass through increasing CAW costs to your ratepayers. A third reason, and this is a very important reason, is that water systems are very expensive. They're expensive to build, they're expensive to maintain. And like any asset, they wear out over time. And so a city has to continually invest in its water system in order to ensure that the water service is provided at the highest level possible, and that the risk of catastrophic failure is minimal. So cities like yourselves have to balance the desire to keep rates as low as possible with the need to ensure that your system is running and operating properly. And finally, you have an obligation to maintain the financial health of the system. You've got to maintain reserves. You've got to meet debt service and debt coverage requirements. And all that goes into the rate plan itself. So as you can see, there are a lot of reasons why costs go up. A lot of these reasons are beyond your control. But the prudent utility is the utility that properly addresses these factors. And we believe that your city has, both in the past and in the future, under the rate plan that we've got recommended tonight. This chart right here is just a very simple cost chart showing how your costs are forecast to increase in the coming years. Right now, it's costing you just under $9 million a year to run your water and sewer system. That amount is supposed to head up to about $12 million by the year 2029. Costs go up. You know years in advance that your costs are going up. And this is going to allow you to gradually phase in a new rate plan that will enable you to cover all of these increasing costs. So let's talk about the recommended rate plan itself. We recommend that the city consider implementing a 5-year rate plan, a plan with annual adjustments, that the first of which to take place immediately here in January 2021, and then additional rate adjustments in January 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. It would be one ordinance, it would be one council vote, and it would be automatic rate adjustments for each of the next 5 years. Under this rate plan, your wastewater rates will actually increase a little bit higher than your water rates, just simply because the predominant amount of capital spending you need to do in the next 5 years is going to be wastewater related. Now, the thing about a 5-year rate plan is that sets you on a trajectory towards financial security and independence. However, you as a council always have the ability to go back in and periodically review that plan. It's generally a pretty good idea every 3 years or so to go back in and look and see where you are as opposed to where you thought you'd be and adjust accordingly. It may very well be that costs are coming in less than expected. And if that's the case, you might be able to cancel some of those future rate increases. Of course, there also is the possibility that if there are any unexpected expenditures or other things beyond your control, you might have to adjust your rates the other way. But setting the 5-year plan into place still gives you the option of going back and adjusting it at some point in the future. And finally, we would recommend that you put in the ordinance a provision that beyond 2025 to have automatic cost of living increases, 3% a year, until the council decides to do something differently. Because look, we all know costs go up every year. And so you might as well set the ordinance to ensure that at least the pure cost of living adjustments are covered. So I'll just briefly show you the rates on the next 2 charts. And then on the final chart, I'll show you the more important chart, which is the impact on your ratepayers. This chart right here is our proposed water rate plan. For your residential and non-residential customers, we would recommend doing, as you can see, a series of phased annual adjustments, increasing your minimum charge by about $1 in the first year for your 5/8" meters, and then about 50 to 25 to 50 cents a year each year after that, with proportional changes in your volumetric rate. It's 57 cents per 100 gallons right now. We would recommend taking it to 62 cents per 100 gallons in 2021, 65 cents in 2022, and so on and so forth over the next 3 years. On the wastewater side, your current minimum charge is $17.04. We would recommend taking that charge to $18.57 effective immediately, with the volume rate going up by about 9 cents per 100 gallons. Then in 2022, the rate would go up by a lesser amount from $18.57 to $19.50, with the volumetric rate going up by about another 5 cents a 100 gallons. and then proportionate increases in each of the next 3 years. Now, the question everybody has whenever they look at a chart like this is, what does this really mean in terms of what people pay each month? Well, I think that's a fair question. And this slide right here seeks to answer that question. Your average ratepayer in the city of Bryant uses somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 gallons of water and sewer service a month. Now, of course, sometimes it's a little higher than that and sometimes it's a little lower. And of course, you also have some of your ratepayers that use a lot more than that. But the average customer, residential customer, uses somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 gallons a month. So if you're a 4,000 gallon user, you pay $58.68 a month for water and sewer service. Under this plan, in the first year, your monthly bill would go up by $5.28. In the second year, it would go up by $3.20 a month. And then in the third, fourth, and fifth years, it would only go up by a little bit more than $1. So you see, the increase has to be a little higher in the first year because your fund is starting to under recover a little bit, and you just issued a $6 million bond. So you need to cover those expenditures. So that's why your increase has to be a tad higher in the first year. If you're a 5,000 gallon user, your bill would go from $73.52 a month to $80.14 a month. That's about a $6.50 a month increase. Then it would be a $4 increase in the second year and about $1.50 each month per month each year after that. Now, I hate to take these big complicated rate plans and try to summarize it in terms of one or two numbers. I don't like to do that, but if I did, I would tell you that under this plan, for the vast majority of your ratepayers, the impact would be about $5 a month in the first year, about $3 to $4 a month in the second year, and about $1 to $2 a month in year 3, year 4, and year 5. It's never easy to ask ratepayers to pay more, but if you adopt this plan, it will not only give you sufficient revenue to fund your operating expense increases, but it will allow you to invest millions of dollars in the upkeep, maintenance, and improvement of your water and sewer system. That really concludes my prepared remarks. I will stop sharing the screen now, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
I believe Rhonda,
Yeah.
Councilmember Sanders
Does
has
she?
a question.
I couldn't see. I haven't seen it.
I know, I'm sorry. It's
okay.
it's a terrible way to do business. I know it is.
My
I guess I just have different questions to ask. First of all, on your slide you had on there, it had a 3/4 inch meter size on that first iteration of what the average payer paid. So what are the average meter sizes here in Bryan? Is it the 5/8? Is it 1 inch? Is it 1.5 inch? So
I would say about 90 to 95% of your meters are 5/8 by 3/4 inch meters. Only a very few customers, and they're almost all commercial, have larger than 5/8 inch meters. Mark, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that is what I recall is the case. You know, a 5/8. I'm sorry, Mark.
That is correct.
A 5/8 inch meter is what is typically used for a residential house.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks. And then when I'm looking also at your study that I was sent, because we looked at the charges in the surrounding areas. So it has on here monthly residential charges, 5,000 gallons of water, 5,000 wastewater. Looks like water then at this point is, I guess, averaging based on the 5/8 inch meter size, 29.21 on water. That's in your study.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Okay. And comparing that, but then it will be jumping up. That's a comparison from what we're doing now, right? That's not a comparison of the increases.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now. And while your rates will go up, so will everybody else's, because the average utility is raising its rates 5 to 6% every year. So the thing about rate comparisons is that they really have to be redone every year, because next year, all these rates are going to be different because everybody else is in the same boat you're in right now.
Yeah. But it's showing right now that we're already above the majority of them
I
it looks
would say
like.
right now you're a little higher than some of the others, but you're within $5 to $10 of the lion's share of the utilities. One other thing to keep in mind about rate comparisons, 30 to 40% of utilities in the United States right now charge rates that do not cover their costs. So just because another utility's rates are lower than yours, it might mean that they've decided to subsidize their water fund from their general fund, which is not illegal, but it's not necessarily very good financial policy. Another thing is that some utilities just don't spend any money on their system. They keep their rates real low, but they're not investing in their system, and they're running the risk of catastrophic failure. So rate comparisons are not always perfect. They're useful, but there are many reasons why rates differ among cities.
And then
Mr.
I heard you, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Ron, if I may ask a question.
Go please.
You're just talking about water utilities, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, water and wastewater.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have another question, Ron?
I had one other question, sir.
Okay, Rob.
Did you explore, did you analyze the availability charges, the charge, or whatever we call it on the water, the minimum charge? How does the city of Bryant look in that area as opposed to other cities?
The minimum charge. I would characterize your minimum charge as being about average. I've seen minimum charges a lot higher than yours. I've also seen minimum charges lower than yours. The thing about a minimum charge is that it's advantageous to a city to make it as high as possible because that's guaranteed revenue. But the problem with that, though, is that a higher minimum charge can be discriminatory against people that don't use very much water. So it's a balancing act.
I understand, but could the availability charge be adjusted by the size of the water of the pipe?
Yes, it is adjusted by the size of the meter. The larger your meter, the larger the availability charge.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
And Rob, on the comparisons on water, there's only 3 utilities that are lower than us. It looks like two of them are Central Arkansas Water, but only 3 of them are actually lower than us in our
And
area.
what are those utilities? I don't have it in front of me.
It looks like Benton is a few cents less than us.
They have an electricity department.
Right. Hot Springs
They're real close to the water.
and Sheridan.
No idea on that one.
So there's only 3 in this area that.
No,
Okay.
I guess. Ron, did you have another question?
I just heard him mention something, and I may have misunderstood him around bonding. Did you say something about that?
I said that part of the reason for the rate plan is that you are anticipated to issue additional debt in addition to the $6 million bond that you just, or debt that you just issued. Yes.
Any other discussion?
So I guess just to further what Ms. Sanders has said, what's to keep us from adding additional bond to finance this instead of sending it on the back of ratepayers?
Well, the trick for me is you're going to have to fund that bond somehow, and the only way you can do it is through the rates. So, I mean, you'll still wind up increasing the rates if you increase bond, but I'll let the experts speak on that.
I think the mayor summed it up very well.
Any other questions or discussion?
Just to clarify, the city of Sheridan, that they get their water from wells.
Ah.
I have a question on aren't we under an order from ADAQ on our wastewater when do we get out from under that? I mean, this is a newbie question, but when do we get out from under? We've been under it forever, as far as I can remember. Well, wow.
Honestly, there's no telling when we'll get out until we meet all their obligations. And honestly, excuse me, I'm sorry. The faster we can get some of these fixes fixed, the sooner we can potentially get out of that. And as a result of that, there is a possibility that rates would decrease at that time. Absolutely. I would think, but I'm no expert on that. So, but I think is there a time frame on that right now, Mark? Do you remember?
So we were placed under another consent action order in 2015. Okay. And so at that point, we started developing, we were required to develop a capital improvement plan. We're about 2 years or so into that capital improvement plan, 2 to 3 years into that capital improvement plan. So we've got about 5 years left on that improvement plan. And yes, you're right. A lot of the spend is required by that capital improvement plan by ADQ. And that was an 8-year plan, and that plan cost about $16.4 million. So, our rates can't support that type of capital spend. So that is why you see a lot of this additional spend that's necessary occurring.
Good question. Any other questions? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
First, second, third.
Third reading.
Okay. We have a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, third reading by title only. Do I have a second? Hearing no second, motion.
Second.
Okay. Hearing a motion, we have a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only. Poll for the yeas and nays to get the reading done. Let's see here. Let me go here. Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, no.
for reading only.
Hawk, no.
Okay. Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Henson,
Henson, no.
Higginbotham,
It is for the reading only, correct,
it
Mayor?
is for the reading only, sir.
Yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Permenter,
Permiter, yes.
Rodell.
Cordell, yes on the reading.
Okay. The motion passes to read first, second, third reading by title only. This is, let me get it right here to make sure I get the right one. Here we go. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2018-09 and establish rates for services rendered by the water facilities of the water and wastewater system of the city of Bryant, Arkansas, and prescribing other matters relating thereto. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt, Miller.
Have a motion to adopt? Is there a second? Hearing no motion, motion fails for lack of second.
Mayor, if I may, sir,
Yes, sir.
I might suggest that we consider an education campaign of some nature. I just, and I know we feel like we've done our due diligence on everything, but it's going to be, I think it's crucial for something like this that we make sure all the ratepayers understand and know exactly what's going on. And not all will agree. Mark, hold on. Not all will agree with it. And it's, you can't hurt by trying to let people know what's going on. And I'm not sure people were fully aware of what was going on, of what's going on. And now that people are more aware from all the buzz that I've been hearing the last week or two, it might be a good time for that to occur, and that could let us figure out a way to re-look at this situation. That's just my 2 cents. My Nichols.
I think that's an excellent recommendation, council member.
Mayor, if I may, I know that we are doing things via Zoom right now, but could it be possible that we have a workshop on this to where we can discuss more openly and freely sometime between now and next council meeting? Because that I think would go in with what Councilmember Rodell is saying as far as education is concerned. It allows for the public to once again hear more information. It allows for us to really do a deeper dive into this. And I think that might be beneficial rather than just extending this to the next council meeting.
Well, you know me, I'm always, we're with the campaign that I think Rob's talking about. I don't know that it'll necessarily extend to the next council meeting, but I'm all about workshops. You know that.
Also, those 5 slides that Mr. Jackson presented tonight, is there any way we could put that information on the city website so people can
we will
review
start
that and understand that and look at that?
working on that.
Okay.
Ms. Sanders, you have a,
Yes, yes. I was just going to say, I agree with Councilman Hawk and Councilman Rodell that it's really going to be important that we just take a little bit more time to educate, to look at all options and make it very clear that we've looked at various options, whether we like them or not. That we take that time and do that. It may take until the summer. And I'm fine with it taking a few months. With the pandemic, the way the economy is right now, it just really is hard on people, and it's hard to understand sometimes why we need to do this. I fully understand we've got to do something about our water system, that we cannot just continue to plod along. But I just want to make sure that, we've been very open, transparent, open to ideas, and share that with the community all that we can. And then I know that we will all make the best decision.
yes, ma'am. Thank you. Moving on to the next item. I guess Rhonda can put her hand down now if she wants to. Or should I say Councilmember Sanders? I'm sorry. I'm not very respectful. I apologize. The next item is the sewer rates, and it's in conjunction with the water rates. I will entertain it since the water rates fail for motion for lack of second. I will entertain a motion to table this until we can do that campaign if so desired.
I make a motion to table this, Hawk.
Higginbotham, second.
Have a motion and a second to table the ordinance relating to the wastewater rates until we can further campaign and discuss. We shall poll now. Let me get my paperwork set up. Okay. Councilmember Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Henson,
Henson, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Permenter,
Parmenter, yes.
Rodell.
Yes. Rodell, yes.
Motion is tabled until we can discuss campaign, et cetera. With regard to Councilmember Hawk's request for a workshop, we can do that before the next council meeting if so desired. If you want, we can reach out to you later this week and try to set that time up, as opposed to trying to do that over Zoom tonight if you desire.
Mayor, if you don't mind doing that, I think that would be appropriate.
We'll start that process. Thank you, sir. That takes care of that. Let me get to my next page of stuff here. Next item is the amendment of the Stormwater Management Manual, which is and by ordinance. Mark, you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. So this is just an amendment to sync up the manual with the ordinance that's already approved. So the ordinance requires that anytime new construction occurs, that the restoration work is done with sod. The stormwater management manual allowed overseeding. So overseeding does not hold. It doesn't keep the soil from eroding. So we just want to sync up the manual with the ordinance that's already in place.
Any questions, council members?
Mark, I'm not sure that this is the right department, but does stormwater take care of those notifications on water meters whenever they're left running for a long period of time, like was discussed earlier?
They do not. That's
They
done
do
by that's done by the Meter Services Group.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, motion to put on first, second, third reading by title only.
Have a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, third reading by title only.
Higginbotham second.
Higginbotham second. Little poll here. Henson,
Henson, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Sanders,
Sanders, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Rodell,
Rodell, yes.
Permenter,
Permenter, yes.
Miller.
Miller, yes.
Motion passes. City of Bryant, an ordinance amending section 500.7.2, section E5 of the Stormwater Management Manual, ordinance number 2019-31.
Motion to adopt, Miller.
A motion to adopt by Miller. Is there a second?
Second, Hawk.
Second by Hawk. We'll do a roll call vote. Henson,
Henson, yes.
Miller,
Miller, yes.
Higginbotham,
Higginbotham, yes.
Permenter,
Permenter, yes.
Hawk,
Hawk, yes.
Meyer,
Meyer, yes.
Rodell.
Rodell, yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Oh, I'm sorry, Sanders. I apologize, Miss Sanders. I missed it.
I was going to let it pass.
Oh, no.
Yes, Sanders, yes.
We got to get you. We got to get you there. There is no emergency clause on this. So this is ordinance number 2021-1. And that takes care of Public Works. Now we move on to the most fun thing of all, Planning Department, which is an ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory to the city of Bryant, specifically Saratoga subdivision. And I believe Truitt will be presenting.
Yes, council, this is the last step of this annexation. So the judge, the county has approved the annexation. So at this point, it's gone through the whole process. It's just up to y'all to finally accept the annexation. The development plans the preliminary plat's already been approved for the up-and-coming subdivision that's going in there. So this is like I said, the last step as a part of that annexation process.
Truitt, were there any public comments for or against this in Planning Commission?
No, this passed through Planning Commission a while back. I do think there were some comments dealing with the surrounding areas. And in this case with the annexation, I believe the public hearing actually happens on the county side of it.
Okay.
So when they're releasing the property. So yeah, it would have happened there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions relating to this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Question, just
go ahead.
go
Rob.
ahead.
Go ahead, Wade.
Does this bring up the half street improvements and everything in this approving, or?
So that was part of the preliminary plat when they came through and got that approval from Planning Commission. So they got that head nod with the initial annexation documents. That all came through at once. So that I got approved at Planning Commission, where they would do that on Wise Road, is the road there. And then it's just taken this long to get the annexation process through.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, permissions to suspend the rules and pass with reading first, second, and third reading by title only.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, third reading by title only,
I'll second that.
and a second. We shall do a, and we will start with, let's start with Hawk. Councilmember Hawk.
Fuck yes.
Councilmember Meyer.
Meyer, yes.
Councilmember Sanders.
Sanders, yes.
Councilmember Henson.
Henson, yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Miller, yes.
Councilmember Higginbotham.
Higginbotham, yes.
Councilmember Parmenter.
Parmenter, yes.
Councilmember Rodell.
Rodell, yes.
Motion passes. An ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory to the city of Bryant, specifically Saratoga subdivision. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So move.
So moved by Miss Councilmember Miller.
Miller, sorry.
It's okay.
Parmenter, second.
Parmenter gave the second. Do roll call vote. Since I forgot her last time, Miss Sanders.
Sanders, yes.
Miller.
Miller, yes.
Henson.
Henson, yes.
Meyer.
Meyer, yes.
Hawk.
Fuck yes.
Rodell.
Rodell, yes.
Parmenter.
Parmenter, yes.
Higginbotham.
Higginbotham, yes.
Motion passes. There is no emergency clause on this, I do not believe. So that takes care of that. This will be ordinance number 2021-2. Let me write that down on this.
Thank you, council.
Yes, thank you, Truett. Now we've got that already. We got that. All right, I guess we're moving on to mayor comments. Thank you, council, for working our way through this process called the virtual council meeting. Hopefully soon we'll be able to start back in person, because I do think it flows a little bit easier for everybody. But I think in the first try, we did pretty good. I want to thank Truett and Dana for ramrodding this and marshaling all the powers that be and making this thing a success. Would like to remind everybody that Coffee with the Mayor is February 6th at 9 a.m. And as it has been for almost a year now, it will be once again virtual. Sadly, I believe I sent out a quote for y'all for a leaf vac. Somebody had asked for that last council meeting for the yard waste program. I believe I sent out a quote. Mark told me that just earlier today that he's waiting on at least one more quote, but he did get another verbal quote today, but it was actually more than this. It's about $195,000 to $220,000. So once we get all that, we'll bring all that back to y'all. And let me find my last little sheet of paper. So we'll get to that. And if y'all want to proceed with pursuing something like that, once we get all that information together, we'll be happy to go through that process.
I have a question on that, if I may.
Okay, sure.
I've looked at a couple of things that hook on behind the truck as well.
Yeah.
Do we not already have a truck that we could use to hook that on behind, pull it and suck the
I
stuff.
honestly don't know, council member. We may or may not, and it partly depends. The ones I've ever seen had this kind of cage on a trailer. And I don't know if it would hold enough waste for what they need to do. So, I mean, that's something we can actually look into and see, you know.
Well, the stuff that I was looking at was, I mean, some of the bigger ones were $15,000.
Yeah.
I mean, the truck they use to pick up the waste now, if we could accommodate that, I don't know. Just thinking about it, need more information.
Sure, absolutely. And we're striving to get that for you. So I appreciate all the suggestions that y'all have with regard to that, because I do think if we can get that somehow, some way to do that, it will make that yard waste program even that much stronger. So because people can just get it basically near the road and then somebody can come along and suck it up. So that'd probably get rid of sweet gum balls too, I'm thinking, but
That'd be great.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't like them. But luckily I don't have any sweet gums in my yard, but I would like to make one announcement and it'll come out a little bit more detail later, but we've started the process, or I've started the process to develop, to bring together a community engagement committee. And we're working on forming this committee over the next couple of months. And basically my vision of the committee is that it's going to serve as the City of Bryant's extended communications arm and help bridge the divide between city administration and the Bryant residents. We're going to do that. My plan for this committee is to do that through raising public awareness on city services. Things like what we had today could very well be helped through with this process, promote the vision of an inclusive community, and help build that trust back between the residents and the city, council and community and everybody else. I think it'll be a good thing once we get it off the ground. It will take several months to get it off the ground, but I think it will be a great thing for the city, and it'll just do nothing but help our city grow.
I think their first item of agenda needs to be to tell everybody the rate increase on water.
Well, we'll probably have to deal with issues relating to that before this committee is totally formed, unfortunately. But I'm sure I could reach out to several committee members to get some input on how best to do that.
Oh, we could.
Mayor, I've got one little thing, if you don't mind, sir.
I was about to say it's time for council comments.
Thank you. Perfect segue. I'd like to congratulate Councilmember Meyer and Councilmember Sanders on their first successful city council meeting and the historic first ever virtual meeting for the city of Bryant, Arkansas. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I want to say congratulations to Brenda for executing this Zoom meeting, and she was able to get it done.
I had total confidence that I would be able to do that. That's why I came down to City Hall, and they did it for me. We have a great IT department.
Love you, Brenda.
Brenda, give him the look. Give him the look.
Give him that mom look, Brenda.
Boom.
I do have one comment on council comments. It was concerning that the gentleman did not get a hang tag for using so much water. Could we look into that policy and see if we can implement that maybe a little better for our residents?
Yeah, it could be that the alarm failed or something too, because I know we've had that in the past with several leaks like this. Other entities, they had a leak, but for some reason it didn't trigger alarm in the system. So we will look into that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Second.
Have a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor, just say aye or leave. We're not-
Aye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh,